Kai Havertz is one of the stars of the Premier League. Just a few years ago, he was struggling to really have much impact in many games, and now he has become one of the main men for a title chasing team. In this video, we're going to look at how Havertz has become such a key player for Arsenal and how he has progressed over the last 2 years to be this good. So let's get into it. I have done many videos of Kai Havertz's time at Arsenal, but in this video, we're going to look at things from a different lens, looking at his times at Chelsea and Leverkusen and why things were not going well for him at the start and how Mikel Arteta and Arsenal were able to change it around for a player to become one of the key performers for both his club and country. And I think the best place to start is of course at Leverkusen. He came through their ranks, he was one of their key players, being a star at just his teenage years, and in the 1920 season where he really stood out, he scored 18 goals and got 9 assists in all competitions, turning 20 within that year. Now straight away off the back at Leverkusen, he was definitely more well known for being a midfield type of player, but a midfielder that was definitely getting into them goal scoring positions and was a lot more predatory inside the box than necessarily being a deeper player. As you can see by his circular progression here, he was having high numbers of goals and shots and touches in the box, but not creating too much compared to other midfielders in his role and not making any defensive actions or winning the ball back. Now at Leverkusen, he almost had a free role out of possession where he could move around and go into the best places possible to get his team further up the pitch, but did usually operate in a situation where they would wait for a counter attack and he would be within with someone else waiting for the ball. Now this season he played in attacking midfield, right wing and centre forward, and when he played in centre forward he actually scored 8 goals in 8 games. However, at Leverkusen, one of the main reasons he was able to score so many goals was because he didn't really help progression down the wing and would often arrive late into boxes, being able to be in that half space in the middle to be able to score a lot of goals. This happened a lot and his teammates knew where he was going to be, running into the box as a box crusher, being able to get them shots away in good positions, which he scored a lot from in that season overall. Now he was always very tall and very big, which helped him get into professional football quite early, and he was always able to battle people for the ball. Now while he wasn't someone that really built up from deep for Leverkusen, there's a few moments like this one here where you could see how good he was on the ball, coming deeper, picking the ball up and being able to just keep it away from the defenders around him and actually end up going past him, shielding it away and getting his team forward. He has that physical stature to be able to do this, and sometimes that composure as well in midfield that can help the team get forward if he has runners around him. Now predominantly for Leverkusen he did play in that attacking midfield role, and it is also down to his great progressive passes. He had a really good level of being able to do great progressive passes from deep occasionally and was making around 5 progressive passes and 4 carries per 90, so he was a very progressive nature which helped him play from deep even if his output wasn't as good in attacking midfield as it was from striker and the wing. There was a lot of benefit from having him in these positions because while he might not get the goals or assists, he was helping the team get forward. And I think the main takeaway from his time at Leverkusen is this quote here from the Tactical Times, talking about how Kai Havertz had promise, but he is a difficult character to really find a place in some teams. He has some really good abilities, especially off the ball, with brilliant movement and great running, but sometimes it doesn't all come together to make him very effective in defensive areas and offensive areas occasionally. But when you score 18 goals in a season in a top 5 league at the age of 20, of course you're going to be moving on to bigger things, and that is when he went to Chelsea for a lot of money. £71 million deal to Chelsea. Now his team at Chelsea wasn't exactly a complete flop. He showed glimpses of really good play and obviously scored the Champions League winner for them. But overall he was still a player that I don't think really found his correct role. He was very good at a lot of things but couldn't quite put it together all the time. Now at Leverkusen he showed glimpses of having an ability to run in behind, but he didn't do it consistently. Sometimes he would do it on the wings where he played on the right, he liked doing it a little bit, and did show that positional opportunism that you could expect from an inside forward. But this was something that got really honed in at Chelsea. He became a player that was running between the lines all the time and playing off people with little 1-2s and getting in behind the defenders. Not only was he dropping it into space in midfield like he loves doing now, where he picks the ball up and puts other players through running behind him, he was also doing them runs as well, changing up sometimes and also being one of the main people forward. And at Chelsea in his last season there, he was one of the best players in the Premier League at total runs, targeted runs and runs into the box. He really honed in on this skill that he had developed a little bit at Leverkusen, and it was something he was getting better at. and he was also an effective presser off the ball as well. The only Chelsea player in 22-23 that did more presses than him was Conor Gallagher, which you probably expect. With only Erling Haaland and Dominic Solanke the only forwards, he also became a lot more assured defensively. Now at Leverkusen he wasn't the worst, but he was someone that was only really winning aerials and wasn't doing too much of the tackles, interception, blocks and clearances. When he went to Chelsea, he started doing a lot more of these, specifically more blocks and clearances, where he was getting into the right positions off the ball to be able to block shots or come back and help his defence, especially in the 5-back that Tuchel had at the time. So when he came into Arsenal, he was a player that clearly had a lot of talent. He can box crush, he's great off the ball, he's really physical, which obviously Arsenal like anyway. And there was a lot of pieces there where you could tell he could do great things, such as running in behind or even coming deeper, but hasn't done it consistently in a role that suited it. And when he joined, I believe the centre midfield role was obviously supposed to be helped by Partey playing a lot more consistently, but when he got injured, I think he was there to supposedly box crush, which he had shown he'd been very good at, but also be an aerial threat and be in great positions off the ball to help Arsenal get forward. Now, while I think that was eventually starting to work a little bit better the more it went on, obviously he has found his home as striker for Arsenal, a position where Arsenal can afford him to be higher up the pitch a lot more than often, but he can also come back and help deeper with the wingers running behind him, something that he's liked before. Arsenal have homed in on every skill that they feel like they've developed from him over the last few years, and I think this Germany game, which he played the other day, is a clear indicator of that. He has now developed his runs from inside to out like an inside forward would do, going down the left hand or right hand side. He is also very two-footed, so that is calm with him. And I think he's developed where to go and when to do his brilliant runs, because he is a very intelligent player when it comes to making the right decisions when it comes to off the ball things. He will help the team, he will go down either side, he will even come back deeper like he did for Germany in this game when they need help, and he loves these little 1-2s where he can continue on in any position to get behind the defenders. But he's not only someone that can also get behind the defenders in that way, he can sit in the box and wait for headers, running in deep, back post or even front post now it's in for Arsenal this season. He's just got so much fight and determination now to win them defensive duels. He's taken the defensive accolades that he really got good at Chelsea under Tuchel and uses his brilliant athleticism to keep coming back and win the ball for these teams. And now a thing with Havertz has been throughout his career that he is a very tall player and developed very early on. Sometimes I feel like the ball does get stuck under his feet, which is something that's going to happen, I think, due to his stature and how he dribbling ability is wise. But he's definitely developed an ability of maybe through confidence or other factors where he really wants to take people on. Now sometimes and mostly before he loves getting in behind and doing these 1-2s to do that, but now he trusts himself to actually go up against a defender in a dribbling battle where he can go past him. And he is truly a unique player. Just looking at some of his stats in the recent Germany game, he's doing everything. He's winning fouls, he's getting in lots of duels, and many times I've said it's not about with him winning them because there's always a second ball there with progressive players around him. He's making high defensive action numbers for someone that is literally basically playing up front or attacking midfield, you could say. And he's becoming a really smart passer now in between the lines, which I think has improved when he's been at Arsenal. He's becoming a better runner off the ball, even though he was always good at that. And he's becoming a lot more effective. Now, I think the big thing about Kai Havertz is obviously his finishing, and I don't think that has improved tremendously. I still think he struggles a lot, but I do think his technique in the last few years has definitely improved. He has a lot more sort of emphasis around his shots nowadays, where his power is something he will focus on while also looking at his placement, because all in his career he's always been a placement sort of player. And in this game for Germany, he hit the bottom of the bar twice, which is very unlucky, but also did miss some key chances, but created so much in the team that you just know it will click for him, and it has been clicking for Arsenal. You've seen even this season, I know he's missed chances, but he's also scored a lot of good chances. That chip against Brighton is a oozes confidence, which is something I think he needed. And some things to talk about with Havertz here is Nagelsmann recently spoke about him, saying that he has the potential to be world class in many positions, talking about how good he is off the ball that makes this so important for him, that even when Havertz isn't scoring or assisting, he is still contributing because he's that impressive for the teams he plays for. But I think the key point about this quote is at the end where it says, "I hope he continues to believe in himself." I think that's the main thing with Havertz. Although he wasn't bad at Chelsea at large stretches, there was obviously a confidence problem there. The revolving door of managers and the situation in that club is not really a situation that Havertz as a player is going to like. Some players need to be told what to do in certain tactical systems, but Havertz is one that needs freedom. The more freedom, the more space you get him into, the better he will be. And I think there was a lot of stumbling stumbling steps getting into Arsenal, being a bit nervous at the start, but he got that penalty and arguably since then he has been insane. Underlying stats are brilliant for the team. He does incredible amount of running, which helps us in the out of possession press, which is one of the reasons why Arsenal are the best out of possession sides in the world. And right now he's performing on the ball. This season he's already scored 2 goals and got an assist in his first 3 games and could have had a lot more. The guy is getting around and contributing with the team. And while this video is labelled as Arteta sort of saving Havertz, and I think in many senses he has reignited his career, Havertz also deserves a lot of credit because confidence becomes within yourself and it's not all about your managers. You can get love from everyone around you, but sometimes that's not enough. But it has been enough for Havertz and he has turned his career around. Not only are his performances for Arsenal much improved, his performances for Germany are much improved. He's become one of the main men for that side. And although he will get memed here and there for some misses that he's going to do or, you know, trips over the ball, when you actually look at him and everything he does around the pitch, he is just making the team a much better place. He's such a multi-talented player that he can do these things. Now I appreciate you guys for watching this as always. I'm obviously a big Havertz fan. This is probably not going to be the last video I ever do about him, but I do think it was a wanted one for Havertz because I think he deserves even more credit than what I've given him in the past. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, and if you want to see me rate the Kai Havertz signing and all the signings Arteta has made at Arsenal, please go and watch the video on the screen. Thank you guys.